Hello there. It's my distinct pleasure to welcome you to my Aunt Lucy show. I'm glad you're a viewer. I hope you enjoy it. And please know that I'm sort of surprising you this time with the theme of horses. We'll feature a little about the Pony Express, famous horses, and other things that we know you will enjoy. And now I'm going to bring you something about a special pony. I want to tell you that I grew up on a ranch in the Sandhills of Nebraska, and I know lots about horses. My father never did have us kids driving horses unless they were really, gentle and all of that. But I can remember day after day sitting on a rake, riding around and around and around, raking hay and all such as that. So now I'll tell you about this pony. When I was a child in the late 1920s, Shetland ponies were all the rage. Somehow or other, my parents managed to come up with $100 to buy us children a pony. I was probably about 4 years old when my father drove the Model T over from our ranch to a horse ranch at Dunning, Nebraska. Mr. Vandeventer, the owner, showed him ponies. My father selected a jet black little filly, fastened straps, he says, around her legs, and put her in the back seat and headed home. The family named her Penny. She was a good keeper, stayed fat and pretty, had a good temperament, and amused us. Penny loved to run in the pasture with the big horses, but really couldn't keep up. She earned her keep by letting me catch her at daylight when my father called my name. I quickly dressed, went out to a little pasture, caught Penny, and rode out to find and bring in the milk cows. Then Penny and I headed out to get the work horses. Another regular job Penny performed willingly was to let one of us ride her over to the summer pasture twice a week to check fences, the tanks for water, and to count the cattle. One time I rode her on a cattle drive when we took cattle my father was selling. We took them to Dunning, Nebraska. At the train station, Penny was in one of the pens when a noisy train went by, her hair raised, and she was relieved when things quieted down. Penny lived way into her 30s and died of old age. She had a way to let us know when she was tired and had had enough, especially when we were giving our town cousins rides. Penny would turn her head around, pull her lip back, and show her ugly teeth. We would get off and give her a break in a hurry. Penny never kicked or bit us. She brought joy to neighborhood children. And now it's story time. A woman named Lori told this story to a writer named Rhonda. It appeared in 2003 in a book of horse stories. The book is dedicated to the legions of people who have loved and cared for God's most noble and beautiful creature, the horse. Now I give you the interesting horse story called The Racking Horse. Lori was married to a man named Bart. He told her that when he was 9 years old, living on a family farm in Tennessee with his parents, his folks had a chestnut-colored quarter horse named Dude. Some years later, Bart's father sold Dude, and Bart grieved in secret. One summer evening in 1987, Lori and Bart, and that's husband and wife, were on their front porch swing when he suddenly blurted out, "Did I ever tell you that Dude won the World Racking Horse Championship?" Lori asked, "Rocking Horse Championship?" Bart smiled and explained that racking is a kind of dancing that horses do. It takes lots of training. You use 4 reins. It's pretty hard. Lori could tell Bart was really thinking as he gazed out across the pasture and said, "Dude was the greatest racking horse ever." Lori probed, "Then why'd you let your dad sell him?" Bart explained that when he was 17, he was working on a short construction job in Florida and had no idea his dad was thinking about selling Dude. Bart explained that running a horse farm means you buy and sell horses all the time, and that's what his dad did. Soon Bart commented, "I've always wondered if that horse missed me as much as I have missed him. I've never had the heart to try to find him. I couldn't stand knowing of something bad," and then his voice trailed off. Lori was moved emotionally one day when she walked through their pasture. In her heart, a quiet voice said, "Lori, find Dude for Bart." She admitted she knew nothing about horses and tried to dismiss the thought. Eventually, she began asking God to guide her. About 3 weeks after the first "find Dude" notion, on a Saturday morning, a new meter reader stopped by. During a pleasant conversation, the meter reader mentioned that he'd once bought a horse from Bart's dad. Lori asked, "Do you remember the horse's name?" "Sure do," the meter reader replied. "Dude paid $2,500 for him." Of course, Lori asked questions. The man said, "I sold him for a good profit." Lori's hopes raised. "Could you help me find him?" The meter reader said it had been years ago and it would be probably impossible. After Lori explained why she needed to find Dude, the meter reader said he'd help her. Several weeks later, he called her and said, "I found Dude." He went on to tell her that Dude was with a farm family in Georgia. They bought Dude for their teenage son, but they can't do anything with Dude, think he's crazy, and would probably sell him to you. The meter reader was right. Lori called the family in Rising Fawn, Georgia, and bought Dude back for $300. She didn't tell her husband Bart the good news. Friday, when he came home from work, she asked him, "Will you go for a ride with me? I have a surprise for you." "I'm tired, honey," Bart replied. "I've made a picnic supper. It'll be worth the ride, I promise," Lori said. After about a 30-minute ride, Bart asked, "Where are we going?" He finally said, "Honey, I love you, but I can't believe I let you drag me off." Finally, Lori turned off the highway onto a gravel road. That annoyed Bart, and he really glared when she left the gravel road and stopped by the 3rd fence post on a dirt road and said, "We're here." "Here where, Lori? Have you lost your mind?" "Bart, Bart." "Stop yelling," Lori said. "Just whistle." "Whistle what?" Bart shouted. "Whistle like you used to for Dude. Just whistle." To herself, Laurie said, "Oh God, don't let this be a mistake." "Whistle again," Laurie prodded. Bart whistled once more, and they heard a sound in the distance. What was it? Laurie could barely breathe. Bart whistled again, and over the horizon came a galloping horse. Bart leaped over the fence as he yelled "Dude" to his beloved friend. Laurie said Bart hopped up on his pal, stroking his mane and patting his neck. Then over the hill came the teenager and his parents. The teenager yelled, "That horse is crazy. Can't nobody do nothing with him." "No," Bart boomed. "He's not crazy. He's Dude." Then Bart gave a soft command to the unbridled horse. Remember that Bart was sitting on his back. Dude threw his head high and began prancing through the pasture. When the horse finished dancing for joy, Bart slid off him and said, "I want Dude home." With tears in her eyes, Laurie told him all arrangements had been made to come back and get him. "Nope," Bart insisted. "He's coming home tonight." Laurie said she called her in-laws, who quickly came with a horse trailer. She paid for Dude, and they headed home. Laurie says the story has a meaningful ending in that Bart spent that night at the barn with Dude. They had lots of catching up to do. Both Bart and Laurie realize they have a wonderful story to tell their future children and grandchildren. As Laurie drifted off to sleep that special night, she prayed, "Thank you, Lord, for never losing track of Dude or me." Isn't that a fabulous story? Now I'll give you a quick rundown of the Pony Express. I have a question for you though. How many months do you think the Pony Express actually ran? Here's the story. The Pony Express was a mail service where riders on horseback traveled from St. Joseph, Missouri to Sacramento, California. Riders changed horses at stations about 10 to 15 miles apart. A rider handled the mail pack over to another rider after completing about 75 miles. Young, often teenage, lightweight riders, orphans preferred, were hired for the job. One of the most famous was Buffalo Bill Cody. The Pony Express lasted only 19 months, from April 3, 1860 to October 24, 1861. It ended when the telegraph first crossed the continent. The Pony Express consisted of relays of men riding fast ponies or horses that carried letters and small packages across a 1,966-mile trail. The service opened officially on April 3, 1860, when riders left simultaneously, and this I didn't know till I studied, from St. Joseph, Missouri and Sacramento, California. The first westbound trip was made in 9 days and 23 hours, and the eastbound journey in 11 days and 12 hours. The Pony Riders covered 250 miles in a 24-hour day as compared to 100 to 125 miles by the stagecoaches. Eventually, the Pony Express had more than 100 stations, 80 riders, and between 400 and 500 horses. The express route was extremely hazardous, but only one mail delivery was ever lost. The service lasted only 19 months until October 24, 1861, when the completion of the Pacific Telegraph line ended the need for its existence. I hope you enjoyed hearing about the Pony Express. And now I'll tell you about a famous horse. What horse do you think has been called the smartest horse in the movies? He knew around 60 tricks, like untying ropes, knocking on doors, walking on his hind legs. He first appeared in movies in 1938 in Robin Hood. Now you probably have his name in mind, Trigger. This horse, originally registered Golden Cloud, was purchased for $2,500 by Roy Rogers in 1938. Roy eventually outfitted him with a $5,000 gold and silver saddle. The name Trigger is credited to Smiley Burnett, Rogers' sidekick. You may be surprised to know that Golden Cloud was the third horse Roy tried out from the movie horses. He knew this was the horse for him and said of Golden Cloud, he could turn on a dime and give you change. Never once in their many years of movie making and appearances did Golden Cloud, now better known as Trigger, ever fall. Here's a few facts about Trigger. He won in 1953 the PATSY award equivalent to the Oscar. Roy was riding Trigger when he proposed to Dale Evans in 1947. How about that? When Trigger died in 1965 at age 33, Roy, with Dale's disapproval, had Trigger mounted. He is now at the Roy Rogers Museum in Branson, Missouri, where he's viewed by around 200,000 visitors annually. And now may I present a thought for the day we all can ponder it. It comes from Robert Louis Stevenson. Keep your fears to yourself, but share your courage with others. Isn't that good? Then I have one from H. Jackson Brown. It's very clever. Remember that a minute of anger denies you 60 seconds of happiness. And now it's time for me to close the Aunt Lucy Show. I surely thank you for listening in. I hope you have enjoyed the things that I have presented about the horses. I would like to wish you a pleasant day and bid you goodbye. Tune me in again soon.